The most basic things.
Escape you. Oh, no.
That was good. Let's do one more. Hi, I'm Matt Moran, and welcome to Kitchen Tales. There's nothing I like more than catching up with mates while I cook for them in my kitchen, where all the best stories are told.
Yeah, right.
Give me your head.
There we go, like that.
There you go. Even Matt Moran makes mistakes.
Makes mistakes, I do.
So join us in the kitchen. I'm looking forward to sharing their kitchen tales with you.
It's better than I thought, actually.
Look at that, and the cat's helping.
My next guest is a rising superstar in the acting world. Now, I've known Zoe Terakes their whole life. Zoe is an activist when it comes to trans kids in Australia. Zoe's here. I'm going to go and get Zoe. Zoe.
Hi, Matt Moran. How are you doing?
I'm very well. And you, God,
Thank
you've grown
for
up.
Having me.
You've grown
I'm
up.
not a child
No,
anymore.
you're not.
Matt.
Grab a seat and
you so
we'll have a
much.
chat. So, Zoe, I was saying that I've known you before on the intro your whole life, which is true because your parents, in fact, your father, I've known since 1988 or something like that.
Okay, that's what
And the reason being is my old business partner, Peter Sullivan's
Yeah,
best friend is Damien.
It's Damien, my uncle.
And my wife, Sarah, knows Kim through Ruth Ritchie.
Yeah, and
So
Mum.
there's
Yeah.
and Mum. So there's connections everywhere with
Yes.
you and I. And you being an actor,
Yes.
me wanting to be an actor, I'm going to cook you 3 different dishes. And they all stem from our conversation that we had. We were talking about, I think it was Kyoto, and you had some raw snails. Now, I love snails.
Are you going to give me raw snails?
I'm not going to give you raw snails, but I'm going to cook you some snails.
Okay, yum,
But
amazing.
real traditional French way with garlic, parsley, butter, and it's one of my favourites. So I think when you have snails, you've got to have lots of garlic.
I am a huge believer in too much garlic.
You can't have enough.
You can't never have enough garlic.
And look, I always say when I'm sick, you know, there's nothing better than eating lots of garlic because I reckon it's a real healer.
Absolutely.
Now,
Not so good.
is your dad still cooking like he used to?
He is still cooking like he used to. I've moved out of home now, and
you have?
whenever I go back, it's because Dad's cooking something that I want to get amongst.
Right. Now, you told me a bit of a story about, was it you cooking chicken and you undercooked it and overcooked it in the same time?
Yeah,
It was burnt on the outside and raw on the
raw
inside?
on the inside. Yeah. Listen, I'm not going to call myself a bad cook.
Yeah.
That would be selling myself short. I'm really good at some things.
Yeah.
That I get from my dad, and
Yeah.
then some things we're just not going to talk about.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You can't be good at everything.
Because your dad was a food critic for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he is the most remarkable cook.
And that's why I love him so much.
Yeah. Sucking up.
Sucking up. No, I always did very well with Kim, always.
Yeah.
So that's just parsley and put a little bit of salt in there.
My mouth is watering. I haven't eaten breakfast for
Oh,
this
haven't you?
reason.
Good.
No,
Now,
I've been saving myself.
I was just hoping that you'd love snails.
Yeah.
So these ones are French ones. I tried to get some fresh ones, some raw ones, but we couldn't find any. There was some in Adelaide, but we couldn't get them up. I did a story years ago on a TV show I did called Paddock the Plate, and I went to a snail farm, and it was one of the funniest segments of TV I've ever done in my life. Because there's this quirky lady that farmed them, and she was talking about how long snails have sex for.
Oh, dude, have you seen snails have sex?
For a long time.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. My friend was like, you should YouTube this. This is like not what I do in my spare time, by the way. But I looked it up. It's incredible.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
like intertwining.
And they get to it for days, I
yeah,
think.
I think it's quite beautiful.
I think it's fantastic.
Good for them.
Great for them. And she was just this really quirky lady, and she made a comment because she had them in a pen, and I said, "Do they just get out?" And she said, "Yeah, but it takes them about a week to get to the boundary, so I tend to find them and move them back."
What's the difference? I mean, this is a really stupid
Yep.
question. What's the difference between this and just like, one I can go and pick from your garden for you?
Yeah, look, they are. Well, obviously you can eat the one from the garden. There's no question because
You can.
it's the same thing. But these are These are bred particularly for consumption.
Right.
And, you know, the ones that were in Victoria, she just, you know, she was in France and she just loved the whole idea of you know, eating snails. So she's just got the variety that you can eat. Right. The big thing with snails is you've got to purge them because they have a lot of, you know, sort of gunk in them. So you you've basically got to starve them for, you know, X amount of time.
Right, because they've got the
just so
streak in them.
Oh, you know what I bloody forgot?
What'd you forget?
This is the thing.
Oh no.
That's not going to work.
Oh no.
See, this is live.
The conversation's so good.
so good.
What's happened?
Breadcrumbs. So I've got to give it a little bit of body, otherwise it will just butter and it just leaks out. So I'm just going to mix that up again. See, we all make mistakes.
Absolutely. Even Matt Moran makes mistakes.
Makes mistakes, I do. I've made plenty, don't you worry. Don't you worry. It's quite funny you talking about your acting job and how you thought you were, you know, crap at it. When I went for my first job interview, I actually did a trial and I had a game stock on the thing and the chef asked me to strain it. I didn't know what the stock was. So I put a colander in, strained it, got the bones and ice in the bones. And he said to me, he goes, that's great, you can put them in the bin. And I thought, Jesus, so if I put that in the bin,
what have I got left?
Oh no. I just strained it down the sink. And I remember I was on a trial, I went out to him and I said, chef, you know, I just poured that in the sink. I could see his face, the drain of all the blood, you know, because his game stock had been on for 2 bloody days. And I thought that was the end of my cooking career. But he saw something good in me. I actually
where was that?
That was at La Belle Helene, where I met Pete Sullivan, yeah.
Whoa.
So I was only 15.
What?
Yeah.
Did you drop out of school?
Yeah, school and I.
Not friends?
Not friends.
Sure.
Yeah, we had a mutual, you know, agreement.
Sure.
That I left it and it left me.
Sure.
But in saying that, and you said that to me before, that you went back to Skeggs.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
It was so weird. I hadn't been back since I graduated in 2017.
Yeah.
But with everything happening in the world at the moment, you know, with regards to consent and stuff like that, they reached out and said, do you want to come speak for International Women's Day? And I was like, sure, you know I'm not a woman, but sure. And they were like, no, that's why we want to talk to you.
That's
so
great.
I just sat with Miss Alum and Georgia Corona, who's this amazing student, and it was just kind of like a bit of a panel and you know, I thought it was going to be a bit watered down and PG and don't say certain words and don't discuss certain issues, but it was...
She let you go for it?
Yeah, no one was holding back, which was really great.
Yeah, it's great.
Because they're conversations that absolutely need to be happening in high school, and I think, you know, all of our experiences in high school would be a little bit different if they were happening when we were there.
All right, I'm just going to whack them in the oven and let them roast for a little bit, and then we're going to have a couple of snails. We sort of talked on a bit of Asian food and that you love Asian cooking.
Yes.
So this is the spin of a classic French confit duck, but I'm going to put an Asian twist on it. And we're going to have something a little bit different too. We're going to have a beer after that. I'm just going to confit some duck. Really important. We've got some salts here and a few spices. We salt it down to cure it, and then we cook it in duck fat. Really important, the salts. This is these guys, the Olsen sea salt, which is, I think they're the oldest family-owned saltery. I don't know what you call it in Australia. Australian-owned, and you know, whenever we can, we always try to support the local guys. But this is by far, I reckon, the best Australian salt. They also do a beautiful smoked gum one, which is great.
I've seen that.
Great on meat, yeah. And then they do special ones every now and then with truffle and stuff like that. So, you know.
What's that? Is that just normal salt?
That's just salt again, yeah. So one of them is a finer salt, which just really gets into it. And we just put some spices over the top. We let that sit for a few hours, and then I just put it into duck fat. Basically what I'm doing, I'm only doing this to show you how to do it, but really that will be for dinner later on tonight. So it's just a real traditional sort of French way of cooking duck, but how it sort of originated is to preserve it more than anything.
Yeah, wow.
So, you know, you can confit duck and you can leave it in duck fat for, you know, weeks and weeks and weeks. But if you just left a raw leg, it'll go off really quickly.
Right.
I'll just put that over there. I'm going to make a glaze to go over the top. So that's the French style. and this is going to be the Asian style. So I've got a little bit of brown sugar, some water. I'm just going to let that sort of caramelise, and we're going to make because you told me that you love cooking san choy bao.
Yeah.
So this is a version of san choy bao with duck in it, but just done a little bit different. So we're going to keep this.
Where do you get your veggies from?
I've got a big veggie garden out the back.
Oh, of course you do.
You love your food.
So much.
You're your family.
I know, it's in the genes.
Because of the whole vegan thing, I thought, I know you're not now, but I thought, what's something that I can cook that is really, meaty?
Sure.
So I've done a cauliflower. Yum. And I've just roasted it whole. Right, it's sprinkled down a little bit smaller than that, but I love whole cauliflowers.
Yeah.
And all I've done is a bit of olive oil, some salt, and it's nice and roasted.
Yum.
Put that on a plate, but I'm not going to.
How come when I do it, it doesn't look like that?
Doesn't it?
No. Again, burnt on the outside, raw in the middle.
Tell you what, we're in trouble then if I can act and cook. I had a cameo in Rake.
You did?
Yeah.
With Ross?
Look, he asked me to do a cameo and I couldn't live, and I was going to play myself. And I remember watching Rake one day and watching a scene where him and Miffy, the girl, going to a party. And I said, no, I couldn't do it. And Rox says to Miffy, oh yes, all the famous people will be there. Russell will be there, Kate will be there, and that bald-headed chef you love so much. And I was like, what? And that was obviously when he wanted me to do it, right? Lots of butter, a little bit of flake chilli. So I'm going to let this brown and get that beautiful nuttiness. Some capers, because I want that saltiness in it too. I actually also put anchovies in it too sometimes.
Yum.
Oh, you love anchovies?
I love anchovies. But hey, I also don't need to love anchovies. Almost vegan.
Almost vegan.
Almost
yeah, well, it's not vegan.
Better.
Right, so these are the little Ortiz anchovies. I'm going to put them in too.
Yum.
Right. I'm going to put some capers. And because you've got the fattiness of the butter.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hot. I'm just going to put a squeeze of lemon over the top.
Do you injure yourself cooking a lot?
I have no feeling in this finger because I cut all the nerves off once. I've got some cracking scars. But no, not anymore. I remember when I was young and I used to come home and I'd have my hand, I'd cut my hand. And my father, who's, a bit of a tough nut, used to say to me, he goes, don't you watch what you're doing? Right, so that's the sauce over the top.
Oh my God.
Nearly vegan.
Nearly vegan.
And then just some fresh toasted almonds on top.
Yum.
Put some herbs on that too, actually. A bit of parsley. Should put parsley in the butter, but just a bit of green.
Oh my God.
There you go. All right, that's our 3 dishes. I've got some beer over there that I want to talk about, and let's go and eat.
Yum.
All right, we've got to have a beer with the duck. This is my favourite beer at the moment, and it's Aussie beer because a lot of people don't realise that you can actually put food and beer together, and I think if you do, Asian is always the best.
Yeah, yum.
And I thought of this beer. I knew you were coming because it's called One Love, Brick Lane One Love,
Yum.
and it's all about diversity,
Heaven.
which is what you're about.
Yes.
So here's to you, Zoe.
Thank you, Matt.
And dig in. Right,
Thank
you're gonna have
you.
snail first.
Okay.
Grab snail, let's move that over there.
Right.
Now I'm gonna grab one of those. They might be a bit
Yeah.
warm, but you should be able to dig them out.
Okay. I'm gonna watch you. Can I use the back of this? Is that so rude?
Use your knife, use whatever you like. You can actually get really
Classy.
tiny little forks and you can dig it in there.
Yeah, but we're not that fancy.
But if you don't like snails, it doesn't really matter because
Yum.
there's so much garlic and parsley that you
can't
can't
taste
taste it. That's the true French way, I think. Yeah. Zoe, tell me a little bit about the some of the stuff you've been doing with diversity?
Well, I don't think I've been actively, thank you so much, going out of my way to do it. It just kind of happened. I think when you're a trans person in the world or in the industry, you almost don't have a choice. Or it doesn't feel like there's a choice to me, and that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
It just more feels like I can't stand for a lot of the things that are happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I guess I just kind of, they go hand in hand, which is irritating at times because sometimes you just want to be a human in the world and not have to talk about your gender troubles. But then also, you know, other times it's the most rewarding thing in the world. And I wouldn't have it any other way. And I just think the people and the connections you make because of that, and because of there's a shared language of being marginalised that is innate, and it's a not having to explain yourself or feeling instantly understood or feeling like you can make family in so many different places is a pretty remarkable thing.
Good on you.
Yeah, I feel very lucky.
Very, very go-getter, which is great to see. We need more. We need more of you.
Yeah, I mean, it's an exciting time because I feel like there are more of me. So you don't feel too alone in all of it. I think a couple of years ago I felt a bit like I was kind of inventing the wheel.
I'll tell you what, the duck's pretty
Oh
bloody
my God.
Not bad vegan food too, apart
Oh
from
my
the anchovies.
God. Yeah, but you know, come on.
Anchovies
Just don't
weren't
tell the
meant
vegan.
Yeah. How well does the duck go with the Brick Lane One Love?
Oh my God, this is so
good. You can make it now. You can have my recipe.
I have to cook for my partner's parents tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I do not trust myself to cook it.
Yeah, there's always extra food there. Don't worry about that. I can sort you out. Bloody oath. I've got a whole cauliflower
I
there.
made it, not Matt Moran. I made
You
it.
can do the cauliflower dish. I'll give you a whole cauliflower and everything to go with it.
Can I?
Absolutely.
I think you have more faith in me than you should.
Whack it in the oven. Roast it, you know, until it gets nice and golden. You can actually do it in a earthenware dish too. Take the lid off, let it steam, get a bit of colour, and just bring it out. And just butter, butter and lemon juice are the only two real things that you need. And then you can put some capers and some nuts. But I'll give you all that, and you can do it all.
Amazing. Set me up for the in-laws.
Yeah, there you go.
Done.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yum. That's really yummy.